Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VI. Well, last time we went through all the variations on the previous scene to find out whether Terra is on board with the returners or not. This time, there's an interesting little thing here. Let's put Bannon in the back row since he's not going to do a whole lot of attacking. But here's my setup going forward. Terra just doesn't have anything in that accessory slot. I don't really have anything good to give her, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not all that important. Do I have another heavy shield? I do. Why don't you have that on? I gave an extra... Oh, they stripped off all of Locke's here. I thought they just did relics. But yeah, there's a bandana. I gave him a spare plumed hat that I had because I got that rare bandana steel. Nothing there. Let's see. What did I want to go over? I wanted to go over kind of one thing. If you haven't done so already, set the cursor to memory before coming in here, especially if you feel like grinding. If you don't feel like grinding, and I'd recommend against it, then you don't need to worry about anything. But well, you probably want it set there anyway just to make battles faster, but well, you'll see. There's a special way. Oh yeah, and unequip the sprint shoes before you go any further. Anyway, the raft will take us to Narshe, so let's pop on board here. Head toward Narshe, but protect Bannon at all costs. Bannon is put out of commission. Your journey's over. Luckily, they gave us Bannon for this section, and the reason why Bannon should never die is because Bannon has the most broken ability in the game, at least in terms of when we get him. Health. No MP cost, free healing for all allies for pretty close to our maximum HP. So yeah, if you set memory on and you just hold down the button when you get into battle, you basically can't lose. It's kind of cheap, but the game gives us these abilities. Anyway, the way that this works here is you can choose a direction here. At the first fork, left and right are shorter and straight is the longest path. The longer the path you take, the more chances you run into battle. In this particular case, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go left. You can go left, you can go right. It's all the same difference. Pterodon is an important enemy to run into here. Make sure that you encounter them as you're floating around here on the raft. Also, yeah, I got to put the Hadouken in there. Sabin is just absolutely great with his ability there. Oops, I got ahead of myself. Inputted nothing in there. I just spammed the A button. But yeah, I'm sure I'll find other times where I can put Hadouken in there. But I specifically went and found a clip because I knew I'd want to use it for this Let's Play. Alright, yeah, more of the same. There's really not anything interesting around here as far as battles go. You basically just hold down the button, really. The only one you have to input commands for is Sabin, and you could just have him do normal attacks. The amount of healing Bannon can do is enough to take care of everything. But Orbital does do more damage. Bannon gained a level. Yeah, you can see all the money. By the way, you can't enter your menu while you're on the raft, so just kind of be aware of that. Yeah, we've run into all of the enemies, so there's nothing new that we're going to see. We'll just keep spamming the same crap. Normally, I would start fast-forwarding or even cutting the battles out, but they're so short that by the time in my editing program that I edit the battles out, we could have just watched the battles because they're all exactly the same. You do exactly the same motions in each one, starting with auto crossbow, and the rest of it's pretty pretty quick. This one will take a little longer since you did slightly less damage than you should have against the that little squid there, but Terra should be able to clean that up. Or not. Well, that's unfortunate. This battle was much longer than it needed to be. Oh well. But yeah, you can see we gain a decent amount of experience in here, which is why I said if you wanted to grind, this is the place for you. And even though it doesn't seem like it would make a lot of sense, there's a save point if you want to use it. I don't need to do that. I guess if you needed to use a tent to recover MP, but you don't need to use MP right now because you have two other non-MP sources of damage that are just annihilating everything, and a non-MP way of healing. So yeah, Terra doesn't need to do that. You target the right one. The only downside to Sabin's blitzes is the single targeting ones will target enemies at random. So there's no way of choosing his targets unless there's only one enemy left. So that's one sort of downside to it, but later on he'll get abilities that target all the enemies on the screen, so we won't have to worry about that. And wow, 3 levels. Lovely. Also getting tons of money. Alright, if you look at the fan translation there, they've mucked up the translation. They have forward and left instead of up and left. And she's facing left as is, so left would be left and forward would also be left. If you say so, video game. But yeah, this is the interesting one if you want to grind. And you need to have your memory set on your config there. Up will loop around. So if you select up, you'll do a big loop around and come to the same decision again. We don't want to do that because ideally you don't want to gain levels yet. There's a reason for it, and I'll go over it when it's more important, but you don't really need to do it yet. And doing so now would make doing it later slightly more difficult or less optimal. So there's that. So yeah, let's just go left and we'll move on. Pterodon! More fights with Pterodons! Yeah, your best source of damage is Hadoukening the crap out of these things and auto-crossbowing them. Wonder if she has enough damage with 2 attacks to finish this guy off. Yeah! Go, Terra, you clean up that trash. Alright, because apparently they think this area is hard, they give you access to another save point. Meanwhile, they still have you with a free healing that's going to do you more than fine for the area. But, okay then, video game, if you insist. Alright. Okay, fine, I'll start editing battles out. So many of them. Oh, it's a big drop. Old Super Nintendo limits. We fell, and then the game had to, pan the screen down, and then we got to roll. What? What is that? I wish we had the translation matrix going for this, but Universal Translator, not quite working in battle, unfortunately. Don't tease the octopus, kids. Really? Well, we've got boss time. Let's, it's in the water? Fire, maybe? Ultros is weak to both fire and lightning, but you can't have lightning at this point, so... Seafood soup! Ultros, you counter with blind, you're annoying. But yeah, Ultros is, well... nothing short of fantastic. Ultros is real funny. I'm gonna stop attacking after this to give him a chance to get some more of his lines off here, because he just talks throughout this entire fight. Youch! Seafood soup! It's so great. Delicious morsel. Let me get my dip. Whoa, buddy. Yeah, the, oops, no, I wanted to heal. No, I want to heal. Yeah, he's got a bunch of kind of funny lines out of Ultros. He's basically a Team Rocket. Muscleheads hate him. Yeah, you'll notice the delicious morsel happened to be Terra. He likes cute things. Figured I'd give him a chance to get off a few lines just because, especially with the battle speed turned right down, he doesn't get a lot of opportunity to show off things. But every time you cast fire on him, he'll comment with the seafood soup thing. Come on, get another line in here. Well, I'm gonna cast fire on you then. And then I'm gonna heal again. Ouch! Yeah, in the Game Boy Advance translation, apparently it's seafood soup is not on the menu instead of just spouting seafood soup, which it's fantastic. The comedy involved in everything Ultros does is great. That's all, friends. What's with the music? Guess we thrashed it. Don't bet on it. Probably just hiding. What is with this music? Something stuck to my leg. Well, I guess he still likes cute things. Watch out. I'm gonna hit it with a blitz. You already did that. Don't distract me, brother. Tad zealous. Overzealous. Sabin. Don't worry about him. Sure he's okay? You should know better. Well, yeah, you are his brother. He'll flop right onto the raft. Well, he flopped. Where'd he go? Seems a little too perky. What is with this? What kind of a line is this? You're laughing? Sabin just got launched into absolutely nowhere. I have no idea where he just went. Well, the way it goes, Sabin drifts there, and we drift here. Edgar and Terra race toward Narshe while protecting Bannon. But what about Sabin, who's swallowed by the raging waters? And how is Locke faring after having penetrated the Empire's defenses in South Figaro? All going according to plan. The interesting thing about this is they've given us a choice. Choose a scenario, Kupo. Before choosing a scenario, Mog is now level 16. Still can't look at his stuff, but if you left him with his gear, he would still have it. Can't select anything else on him at this point, but we technically control him. And you can choose to do these scenarios in any order you want. This is the shortest one, the Bannon Edgar Terra scenario. Locke is a little bit longer than that, but not too much. And Sabin is by far the longest. Sabin also needs something from one of the other paths. I think it's Locke's. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he needs an item gotten on one of the other paths in order to be efficient in his own path. So we're going to do the other ones first. And I'm going to start with this one because it means I can get equipment off of 2 characters at the start. Plus it's a really short one and we'll probably finish this off today. But you can do them in whatever order you want. It's entirely up to you. I like this option because it gives, you know, the player the choice. You know, if they're really interested in what Sabin was doing, we just got him and now he's gone already. Well, then you can follow along with Sabin and see what he's up to. But in this particular case, this is why I said to unequip the sprint shoes. In my case, Terra had them, so it would have been fine. But I wanted to do a fire and an auto crossbow and a health. Hopefully that'll take care of these guys. Should be enough. But yeah, I like really. You have a little tiny bit of HP left. You suck. I like being given the choice. I wish we were given a few more of these types of choices, but it's pretty much the only one. Alright, after this battle, we learned Drain for Terra. It's not a particularly useful spell. In fact, it's one of the spells I really dislike in this game. Not because it's bad, though it's not good either. Just, well, you'll find out in due time. As I said, this is the shortest of the paths because, well, we're already here at Narshe. However, remember that chocobo forest I showed you before? I'm going to save and I'm going to meet you down there. Okay, we're back. Now, the reason why I took you all the way down here, and this will only work if Bannon's in the lead of your party. Let's ride a chocobo. Now, way to go, Bannon. The game never expected you to ride a chocobo with Bannon, so his sprite gets a little glitched up and looks like a half-naked woman for a little while. Fun! I just thought I'd show it off because I said this game is glitchy as all hell, and I wasn't wrong. This game is glitchy as all hell. As far as I know, it doesn't screw anything else up, but I saved just in case. Alright, I also re-equipped Terra with the sprint shoes for now. Didn't you just bust in here wearing magic armor? No? It was somebody else. Somebody else with green hair, because we've seen a lot of those in this game. Wait a second. Whoa. Hold on, I'm King Edgar of Figaro, liar. Apparently these guys don't listen too well. That kind of attitude is deadly. Kind of a weird line, but won't even listen. It's all my fault. Now, interestingly, they never mentioned this in the previous line here, but Edgar was actually talking, or at least in the other version of the game, the Game Boy Advance version, and that, my friends, is why I can't stand men. It's like they don't even have ears. Okay? I guess he's a womanizer, so all he thinks about is women, but it's kind of an odd line. But anyway, sure, if you say so. Well, we can't really get in, even though that's the entire point of this whole path is for us to get in. You can still go in here if you want, and there is the free rest. They also now play a different theme in here, and this is, I think, the only time the prelude is used in the entire game. It's kind of weird that they never really put it in to the game, except for in an area you've probably already been to. But yeah, it's there, sure. But yeah, we need to find another way in. When Locke helped me the first time, he fiddled with some... It took me like 4 read-throughs of this to notice this, but look at the word something. Read it about 4 times. It's spelt wrong. It took me so long to figure this out. But yeah, they typoed it. I think the specific font that they created for this game, I think it does a kind of a really good job of hiding typos, because there's a few other typos that I didn't notice, you know, the majority of the time that I've played the game. See, this was the switch she was talking about. I'm not sure why, like, we never saw the switch to close the door, or to open the door from the outside. We saw, maybe you had to hit a switch to close it when we went through. I don't know. But anyway, let us continue on up here. You still don't want Bannon to die. The enemies around here are the same weak ones we fought before, so there's no chance of that happening. So let's just keep our progress going. I'll cut out the rest of those rather meaningless fights. don't think we can do anything over on the side. The two chests in, I believe it's this room, or no, not this room. There's two chests that we encountered in this area before. They, I don't think, contain anything different, so we're not going to go about them. Alright, so they'll explain things here. It's kind of weird. What is that? Room's a security checkpoint. Okay. Here in the Game Boy Advance translation, we'll scroll a little bit. There's a room in here where they test applicants to the city guard. Should be fine as long as we follow the light. If we make a mistake, the light will surround us. To proceed safely, we must tag the glimmering light. Now, interestingly enough, the way this works is you just basically have to follow the path that it took. And if you miss, and you hit the one that was differently colored, then you'll be able to break through and continue going. However, fighting in here gives you a chance of running into Dark Side, which is, I think, the only way you can encounter it for a little while, and one other unique enemy, but it's really rare. So I'll try a couple of times, but I'm not going to go out of my way to try and get it. Thing with sprint shoes in this area is you end up running past the point where you actually want to more often than not. But for those wondering, that's the path, and then I'm going to go down to try and see if I can force a fight against the rare encounter that there is around here, just so that I have the that battle formation. Again, Edgar is all you need to survive. But yeah, I'll cut out, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 more attempts at this, and then we'll move on. Okay, here we go. Actually happened on the next attempt. I wasn't able to find this battle on my first attempt through here. If I remember correctly, I think Darkseid absorbs fire, or maybe it's these guys absorb fire. Somebody absorbs fire. I don't think it's him. Auto crossbow will not hit enemies on both sides, only one side. So we got rid of you. I'm going to use health here. These enemies are a little more powerful than the most of the enemies that we're going to run into. I believe that's slow. He was inflicted, I think, by default with, I think it's called seizure. So that's why he took a little bit of damage there. And let's finish off these guys here. And I got the other encounter. Cool. It's your only way of encountering them for quite some time. So now we can just go through the rest of it. I wasn't even really expecting that to happen. That's pretty cool. So now we can follow the proper path here. Video game. It was not behaving. There we go. It's easy enough to get through there. Okay, so the items, by the way, down here leads to, those are the stairs. That was where we fought the martial guy before. That up there is where Terra fell down. So yeah, if you want to go down here, these are the 2 treasure chests. They don't contain anything new right now, so there's no reason to collect them. I'm not going to show them. They say they have the same items as before. These are the same enemies as before, though I think there was some new ones. I'd probably cut those battles out. There's an enemy called First Class that just looks like a grease monk, nothing special, like the guys that throw wrenches. All pretty generic, basic enemies. Down here, as I said, is where we fought that battle against the Marshal at the start of the game there. That's where Terra fell. Up here, Koopo! More Koopos! All the Koopos! Koopo? Oh! Not exactly sure what you're going for there, bud, but if you insist. Wasn't there one that said something else? Nope, stop that. thought one of them said something different. Well, I guess not. That's fine, whatever. All the Koopas. Alright, I can't remember which save state I'm on, so we'll just go with that one. This contains a Rune Edge right now. A Rune Edge is a new weapon, a new sword. It's more powerful, has evade on it, which is useless. It also has a relatively rare feature that not a lot of other weapons have. Consumes MP to inflict a mortal blow. This is a critical attack. Basically, it consumes a percentage of your MP to always make your attacks critical if you're using a normal attack. And while this is nice in that you get double damage out of your attack, I'm not going to be using a character who has MP. As you can see here, the only character I have with MP is Terra. I'm not going to be using her for normal attacks, so that's kind of useless. On top of that, later in the game, it becomes a ribbon. So yeah, we definitely want that ribbon. We're going to be using that one way or the other. All right. So yeah, that popped us through that hole there that you can kind of barely see, and it drops us down among these treasure chests, which I probably didn't have to pop down to look at earlier. Repo Man. Yeah, the other enemy I ran into looked just like that. He was called First Class. They all died to an auto crossbow, so I forgot that it was one of the newer enemies instead of one of the older enemies. They all died to an auto crossbow, so it doesn't matter. This one has a counter attack on death. Some of the time, anyway. Alright. Now, before going into that house, this pretty much ends the, Bannon's part or role in all of this. So you want to strip everybody butt naked. Nobody needs any gear here because we're done with this party until a later on point when we'll be able to re-equip people. We'll just say that. But yeah, you want to unequip everyone now because once you go into this house, you loot, at least soon enough, you lose control, and then all of your gear would be stuck on these characters. And we don't want that because we want that gear for other characters. Now, it doesn't make any logical sense that we could, get our gear off these characters and give it to other characters, but that's the way the video game works, and I'm not going to fight logic on it. I'm just going to abuse the system. The town's neutral. I've tried to get the people to side with their returners, but now here, let's see here. Same as always, the town's neutral. I've tried to convince them to side with the returners, but it's no use. Of course, maybe you and the King of Figaro here. Now, in one of the other translations, I'm not sure it's ever made super clear, but my understanding of this is, from other things that I've read, is that Narshe is kind of not like a rallying point, but they are also opposed to the Empire. They just haven't joined a resistance group yet. Like, they're their own kind of resistance, and they're just fighting for their own town. That's why they have all these guards, and, places like South Figaro don't have guards. Of course, Figaro Castle did, but most of the other cities we're going to see don't have their own unique set of guards. So it's kind of a unique thing to Narshe. So it seems like they're kind of opposed, but not siding with anyone here. So it's interesting. It's not made clear, I don't think, in any of the translations, but that's kind of how I've read it before. They all went slightly berserk. Looking over at the other ones, everyone's been a little on edge. That probably makes more sense. We believe this young woman is the only hope of reaching out to that Esper. People are dying to know what the Esper looks like. Really, that's your kind of approach to this. You want to know what it looks like. We're trying to save the world. Or at least, you know, protect it against the Empire. Interesting here. If we approach them in the right way, there's a good chance they'll agree to let her, meaning Terra, see it. I like how the Game Boy Advance translation kind of emphasizes and elaborates a little more on things than the original version did. I know I probably said this before, but the text is super large. Like, the font size is really big. If they had just shrunk it down, they could have fit a lot more dialogue here, which at certain times is going to be very helpful. Other times, not so much. Esper is either going to save us or dig us an early grave. It's a good line. I like that. Choose a scenario. Well, like I said, Sabin is just so long that I want to do it last and have as many resources as I possibly can going into it. So we're going to do Locke's scenario next. Worked hard to stymie the efforts of the Imperial troops. You don't see that word pop up very often. I like that word. It's not something you see a lot. Now he desperately needs to escape. Alright, before doing anything else, you know what? I'm not going to do it in this one. Gotta get to Narshe on the fly. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all the time we have for today. Next time, we will actually, go through all of Locke's scenario. His scenario takes a little bit longer. It's probably a whole episode unto itself. Sabin, we're going to be with his path for many episodes, so we'll save that. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this one. And I'll see you guys next time.